This is going to be a long video, but this is a very in-depth video. So I did last year a 2025 mock draft, or 2025, sorry, 2023 mock draft. And yeah, I was all over the place. It was a mess, but that's because the draft is that unpredictable. So hopefully this one, very in-depth researching. It's going to be literally in-depth of each pick. We're going to make sure we're trying to nail it properly. The first 4 or 5 picks are pretty somewhat kind of known for the most part, at least from what I can see. So that's why it's a little different. But we're going to just try to go right off the bat and just fucking really, really research on the fly. So please stick through this whole video if you're a football fan and you have any kind of comments and opinions. Put them in the comment section. At the same time, pick in the comment section, list who you want to have drafted versus who you believe they're going to draft, because I'm kind of curious what you really think about your team's draft picks. By the way, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. I'm also a content creator for gaming, FPS content creator. Follow, like, and subscribe, please. It means the world to me, and all my socials. I have everything linked in the description. And again, if you have an opinion, please list your opinion too. Also want to mention real quick, website that we're using is a different website. It's not PFF. PFF is trying to charge money to use their draft simulator, which is ridiculous. But we're using a different website. I've tested a little bit of trade scenarios with it, and it works. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that we could do all the trade scenarios possible to make it actually work. And that way we can make this draft as, you know, as entailed of it to be as possible. I want it to be on point, so of what I'm trying to choose. But obviously the mentality here is crazy shit happening in draft, because that's what always happens, trades and all, but at the same time too, not only just crazy shit happening, but what we truly think is going to happen. So obviously that's the goal. So hopefully this draft goes well. Draft's in a few days, so please follow, like, and subscribe. Truly means the world to me. I'll probably even do a live watch party if I can of the draft. It's going to be kind of hard because I work a late shift, so we'll see what happens. But keep up in tabs about that. I'll be, you know, we'll all be together talking about it and discussing. So here we go. Anyways, yes, my theme's background, purple and green. So you got purple and green. Besides that, that's just me. That's just my setup. So anyways, I hope you like that. I think it looks pretty cool. Looks pretty badass. So anyways, here we go. So we got on the clock the Bears, and we have a draft order of the team needs with the trades that have acquired, with some haven't even been listed yet, FYI, and we're going to go to that in a minute. And then obviously we also have the depth charts for all 32 teams. So we're going to be able to pull this up on the fly and really get this dialed in a lot more than a lot of other people doing drafts have done. So we're going to really get this down to the bare fucking, you know, crazy, even with the crazy thought processes and the way people draft. So we're going to really do this. So right off the bat, let's just get the first 4 out of the way. It's very simple. So obviously Caleb Williams going to the Bears. Pick number 1, clear as day. Jaden Daniels is going to be a toss-up at pick number 2, or it's going to be Drake May, but I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. I just truly think that Jaden Daniels going to Washington has the better fit for success right off the bat, and I think Drake May fits the mold of the New England a lot better. So I think whoever New England's going to get, they're going to take anyways. If they get Drake May or Jaden Daniels, they're going to go with either or. So thought process behind that, but I think Drake May fits the Patriots mold more. And then obviously the Cardinals, people said Cardinals are trading out. People are going really wacky with it. I don't see the wackiness being real, because I think they really need wide receiver more than anything. So they're going to go and get Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it's just cutthroat and dry. Now this is where I want to kind of debate a little bit, because right now this says their team needs. I don't want to go based off that. I'm gonna go based off of this website, because it really shows you like from the number 1 all the way down. You know, and it shows who they added as well and lost. So this is where it kind of gets into the debate of who the Chargers are looking at versus, you know, do they really need to trade out? Who's going to be the ones to trade up? Who needs what right off the bat, right? So we're going to be able to look at that right off the bat. So again, we're going to go to depth chart for the Chargers just to kind of look at how badly at wide receiver do they need a wide receiver. So they got Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnson and Darius Davis. So I would think that if the Chargers are not going to trade, they already have Malik Neighbors in line for wide receiver. I don't see them going looking at any of these wide receivers going, yeah, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, we could get away with a weaker wide receiver. No, this is like their fucking godsend right here. This is what they need. So I'm going Malik Neighbors. I believe it just makes the most sense. They won't trade out of that. And they definitely need a wide receiver. I know there's been some negativity behind Neighbors, but I just doubt that they're going to go any other route. So here we go. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the fucking draft, right? We're getting into the fucking nitty gritty. We don't know what the hell is going to happen with the Giants at pick 6. Now, I believe there's a bunch of trade value to be made off of the Giants here. Now, it says they need offensive guard and safety. Again, we're not going based off that because this is just there you go. This is more in depth, right? Now you can see who they acquired and what they might look at more versus less, right? So, for example, wide receiver is a big concern for them. I don't think that they want to necessarily have, a wide receiver in Rome Odunze as their wide receiver 1. You know what I mean? So we're going to look at their depth chart and see what they're working with here. This is why I wanted to look at their depth charts a little bit too. So right off the bat, you have Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt. So wide receiver, like they do need wide receiver, but they might be willing to work with this wide receiver group. Now we're looking at tackles. They got Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor. I always pronounce his name wrong. He came from the Ravens too, believe it or not. So Jermaine Illuminor. I just don't see Illuminor being the number 1 guy, possibly number 1 guy. You got John Runyon and Aaron Stinney is in the middle. You know, according to their draft needs, they need an inside offensive lineman. That's like their big need. If we're going into the O lineman here, which by the way, they don't really specify like as offensive tackles. They don't really have, offensive guard. You have to look down for it. Center. I don't see them going so highly ranked on somebody like Jackson Powers Johnson at this level. I don't see them going for an offensive tackle to replace anything. It would be really if they're going for inside offensive linemen. We'll look at like what they have ranked here. Fashanu is a tackle. They could kind of kick him inside. I would believe they might possibly be able to do that. Their rankings here are a little bit weird. I don't really like the all rankings for this website specifically. So I just don't see them really going based off of what they need. Sticking here instead of they'll go value. Joe Alt would be just a game changer. Best available would be another option, but I just don't see that. They added John Runyon. Offensive tackle, again, they could go offensive tackle, but like really, are you really going to just push Illuminor back like that? You know what I mean? Like put him in the depth chart. They're definitely not getting quarterback. I really think they're settled on Daniel Jones. I think they want Drew Lock as an option besides Daniel Jones. Like as one of the two might work. So they're not going quarterback for sure. A lot of people think they are. I just don't see it happening. They added Brian Burns. So their defense are kind of shoring up too. They do kind of need, based off their cornerback depth, what they got? Trey Hawkins, Deontay Banks. They could make a splash cornerback pick. This high up, I don't see it. I definitely see a team like right here. See, this website's not even up to date either because it has the Falcons needing quarterback. So again, you look at this. Look, Jets need a quarterback apparently. These websites are all over the place. So I ignore that entirely on these and I go off of what this is showing. So Giants, I think they trade down. I personally think they trade down, get some pick value. I don't see the Bears trading up for their wide receiver. I don't see. The Broncos are definitely not going to be trading up for quarterback because, again, we'll explain that when it comes to it. If you guys don't know already. The Vikings... Would the Vikings trade up for a quarterback? It just seems a little unlikely because there's nobody ahead of them that's willing to take it. Except the Raiders might be looking at a quarterback to kind of compete with O'Connell and Minshew. Minshew is definitely not going to be a starter for sure. He's definitely a backup. But O'Connell as the starter, they're kind of like, I think they're kind of tossing up on that right now. So I'm going to say that they... Who's the splash pick though? Who would be the splash trade up for a player? Nobody's feeling threatened about anything. I don't think the Jets are feeling threatened about anything either. It's really hard to say. The Giants do trade down, though. I believe the Giants... I'll say Minnesota Vikings. I think if there's going to be a team that does trade up for a player, it would be the Vikings. Maybe the Vikings are thinking the Raiders are going to bounce a bit above them for a quarterback. So we're going to do this. We're going to go to make a trade. So we're going to go... what do we got here? Giants. So Giants make a trade. They're going to trade pick 1, and they're going to trade with the Vikings. Add to trade. Offer trade. Fingers crossed that it works. Trade accepted. Thank you. Please website work. Otherwise, we're going to be Mickey Mouse in this thing. So anyways, it doesn't look like it updated though, which is kind of weird. It should have updated. I don't know why it didn't. So let's just say that it did update. Maybe it changes as we make the pick. Maybe it's just a bad website. I don't know. But I don't know why it's not refreshing. Is there a way to start draft? No, it's still not refreshing. Okay, so anyways, in this pick, it would be the Vikings just go on a wild card, JJ McCarthy. There it goes. Okay, it did work. So we know. We just got to know that it traded, and it shows it. Okay, cool. JJ McCarthy to the Vikings. That's what I believe. The Vikings need a quarterback really bad. Again, I think it's a splash pick because they don't really, like, again, Michael Penix's probably the better passer to throw to somebody like fucking Justin Jefferson, you know, good wide receivers that they have. But McCarthy might be able to succeed a little better and also incorporate a good run game. I don't know what the mental process is in Minnesota, but I'm going based off of the hype. And I'm going to go off the hype because a lot of hype is what changes these drafts. So I'm going to say they go off the hype and they get JJ McCarthy, proven winner, which by the way is another thing too, a proven winner. Minnesota's going based off that mentality and gets JJ McCarthy. Now you got the Titans on the clock. They need offensive tackle. We're going to go based off here. I know that they do need offensive tackle, but yeah, it just showed number one. That's like their big deal. We could go in and check the Tennessee Titans depth chart on offensive tackle. They got Petit Free. Oh, and Dylan Redunds. Yeah, so yeah, Nicholas Petit. Yeah, they're gonna probably go offensive tackle. And again, you got somebody like Joe Alt there. You know, you can't pass up somebody like Joe Alt. So I think they go Joe Alt. Makes the most sense. I don't see them passing up their star tackle. You know what I mean? Their franchise tackle for sure. The Falcons are on the clock. Falcons do need edge. Again, I would probably go based off of who they got right off the bat. So they need edge bat and corner bat. From what I've already researched a little bit when I did these drafts, a little test mock drafts that I've done researching all this, and I've really looked, and there's two things that I'm looking at. It is the top two needs of each team, and I believe the Falcons need edge and cornerback the most, but I believe cornerback has the most depth. So I do actually believe that they stick here and just get Dallas Turner. I believe Dallas Turner is going to be the best edge that they're looking at, and according to this website, they don't think so at all. They think he drops down a bit. I don't see Jared Verse or Latu going to be the I probably butchered his name, by the way. Just bear with me if I butcher somebody's name. But Dallas Turner, I believe, is going to be the one. Alabama, they like the Alabama guys over there in Atlanta, so they're going to take Dallas Turner. I just don't see it being Latu right off the bat. I think Latu's going to drop a bit. So then here we go. The Chicago Bears. I think it's pretty straightforward and simple. They need a wide receiver to go with their quarterback. Rome Odunze, 100% is that pick at pick 9. No trade value there. Now here comes the Jets. They don't need a quarterback. Stupid thing. They don't need a quarterback, but I do think they're looking at. They have wide receiver as an option. I don't see wide receiver this high. They do need tight end. I do see Brock Bowers being that guy. But for the next few picks you can see here, there's not really anybody in need of a tight end other than maybe the Saints if they really want to just jump up and get a tight end at that high level. The Seahawks even as well, which they lost Will Dissly. So actually there is a potential that they want to pick up Brock Bowers. They could possibly trade down with a team. Where are we looking at right now? They have the Giants, the Broncos, the Raiders. So I don't actually think they trade out of this. I think they might just say, you know what? We're going to take a leap and take Brock Bowers, because in the end, they could lose out to Brock Bowers from the Saints. I don't see anybody else trading above, except for obviously the Seahawks is another team. They lost Will Dissly. They're not going to trade down below the Seahawks for sure. They're not going to trade down below the Saints. The Saints might make a splash play. I'm going to go based off of they're just going to be smart about this. They're going to get Brock Bowers here. Give Aaron Rodgers a tight end target. You know what I mean? So now we're back to the Giants. The Giants here. You know, they traded down. They need, I mean, we go back to their depth chart. I would like to look at their depth chart one more time. They do need tackle, really. I would say the tackle and the guard position is one of the big deals here. They got John Runyon. Even center might be a big deal, but this is just such a high pick. I would think they're probably just going to go best available tackle. And I would think to upgrade the tackle position, you got, let's go to O-line. Just make sure we're looking at the players here. Foutino is another option too. We look at their profile. I like to look at the height and the weight. I also like to look at the weaknesses, not the strengths. They do got a good, this is per ESPN, rivals.com. This is, I actually never really looked at this section of this website, so it looks pretty good. Kind of like that. You kind of get an idea of what you're looking at with the player's strengths, weaknesses. Pretty cool. I would say between Fashiono and Fuaga, I would say he's the bigger guy. I'm gonna say they go with Fashiono. They're gonna get that tackle, just best available tackle on the board, and go from there. The Broncos are on the clock now, and the Broncos do not need a quarterback. Zach Wilson is traded to the Broncos. Sean Payton likes Zach Wilson. He likes Jarrett Stidham. I believe he's going to let those two duke it out. And I truly believe that. I don't believe he's looking at any of these quarterbacks going, oh, yes. Especially J.J. McCarthy being gone. Between Bo Nix and Michael Penix, I think they're going to fall, especially at this position. I won't say fall really bad, but I think they're going to fall. So at this point, I think they're looking at, you know, which let's go by the real, I have to keep saying that, by the real depth chart. This is an update. This is just literally today that changed. So now you have defensive line, corner, safety, inside offensive lineman, you know, so on and so forth. If we're talking about, you know, let's just say they're looking at defensive line, corner. They already got defensive tackle. I don't know why they're really, well, Malcolm Roach isn't really a starter though. I would say because defense is a big deal. Sean Payton isn't really, I don't think he's looking, I think he's going to be looking at a splash pick here. He could trade down with the team to get some value, especially, actually, you know what, thinking like that, he might do that. What are we looking at edge? Latu's there? Do you pass up on a guy like Latu? Or Jared Verse? Who do you think they're going to pick if they're going to drop down that far? I just don't see... I don't see it happening. I see them trading down for some pick value. I can see that. I could see that Sean Payton needs to make up for the whole Russell Wilson debacle. Question is, what are we looking at depth chart wise? Let's look at their depth chart. This is actually really good to look at the Denver Broncos depth chart because this is what we're working with. So they got Cortland Sutton, Josh Reynolds, Marvin Mims Jr., right? So wide receivers not really that big a concern for them. They got Josh Reynolds and Cortland Sutton, which is, you know, and Tim Patrick's good too. Little Jordan Humphrey's pretty good. Marvin Mims is pretty good. They have good wide receivers for the most part. Tight end, Trotman, I think they're okay with that. They're inside Quinn Miners and Ben Power. I just don't see that. I would see if they were to get anything, it'd be a center. Defensive wise, Caden Stearns, Brandon Jones, Pat Surtain. Levi Wallace is probably kind of a little bit hyped up from them. If I remember correctly, they're not looking too bad, believe it or not. And they have DJ Jones and Malcolm Roach. It would be a defensive lineman if they really, really need to get anything. So I think they're going to trade down. I think they're going to trade down, just probably get best available at that point, get some draft value back to them. Who's looking at Latu really bad? I know the Rams are looking at Latu really bad. I think the Rams would be willing to trade up pretty high for that too. Especially because who's going to trade with the Rams after that? The Raiders? I see Raiders being that surprise pick. But they're trading down. I think there's a trade here. I'm going to go with the trade. I'm going to say that the Denver Broncos... Where is Denver? That's Detroit. Denver Broncos make a trade. They take pick 1. And they're going to trade with... Who wants a big pick here? I don't see the Colts trading up. What wide receivers on the board? Brian Thomas, McConkey, Mitchell. Where's Worthy? He dropped Worthy all the way down. Keon Coleman. Yeah, none of these guys are going to be this high of a wide receiver pick unless they're just reaching. Who wants a really good... Nobody wants good quarterback. Penix is still there. People have him ranked 9. They think Michael Penix is going to be really good. I just don't see it. I see him falling. The Saints could make a splash move at edge. The Jags can make a splash move at edge. But they need a wide receiver. They added edge, didn't they? No, they didn't. No, they got edge. Jags do not need an edge. What is this? I just thought about it. They do not need... Okay, we're going off this. They don't need a tight end. They got Mike Gesicki. He's a good tight end for the Bengals. I hate the Bengals, by the way. Not a Bengals fan. Ravens. That's why. I just don't like the Bengals at all. I'm going to say they go fucking the Rams. The Rams trade up. So the Broncos trade with the Rams. And the Rams add a trade. Just accept the trade. What? Oh, wait. What happened? What happened? Make a trade. The Denver Broncos add trade. Select a team. The Rams. Let's hope this succeeds, because if it doesn't succeed, then this website's also an issue. And we don't want an issue. Make trade. Oh, wait, what happened? Team console. Make a trade. Offer trade. Just say accept. Thank you. Just make it happen. Okay, so anyways. So the Rams traded up, okay? Rams traded up, and I think they get Latu. Because I really think they like Latu a lot. So, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I think they take Latu. I think Latu's going to be their guy to try to replace fucking, what's his name that retired? The legend. So, there we go. They trade. Big trade. I believe that's the biggest thing. They'll trade to take at the best edge and make sure nobody else can get that edge. Now, the Raiders, again, I think, if I'm thinking crazy splash plays, they're going to trade down, and they're going to trade down for the specific reason that they want a specific player. I don't want to spoil it, but they want a specific player that isn't going to be... It's going to be falling down the draft boards. So I believe they trade out as well, and I believe there's somebody that trades up. And I'm going to assume that if we're looking at draft orders, right? So we did the Denver Broncos traded, so we're at the Raiders now. So below the Raiders, we got the Saints, the Colts, the Seahawks, and the Jags. The Rams should drop down, so the Broncos are down there now. Is it right? The Broncos? Yeah, pick 19. Broncos trade down, get some draft value. I don't see the Dolphins trading up. I could see the Steelers trading up. I just don't see them trading up that far. The Bucks, no. The Packers, I don't think I think they're going to sit there. I believe Packers have somebody in mind. The Ravens, I could see a huge jump up, but how much of a jump up is that? The Ravens jumping up that much picks is kind of hard for me to believe. I'm going to assume actually the Raiders don't trade because I think they're just not going to get the value of trade that they're expecting. I think they're going to just pick up their quarterback, Michael Penix. I think Michael Penix is going to be that splash pick because a lot of people have Michael Penix dropping, but now that I think about it, I think they're just going to make the pick. If they want the guy, they're going to take the guy. I think they're going to want the guy, they're going to take him, and then it's a quarterback battle between O'Connell, Minshew, Penix, and there you go. I just don't see... It's kind of weird to say that too because in the end, you got Minshew, a veteran, can sit behind, or that Penix could sit behind, and then you also got O'Connell, where O'Connell's like a wild card. If he's a starter, he's going to show that he's a starter. If he's not, he's not. You know what I mean? And I don't believe they have the hype on O'Connell as much as the locker room does, but not really the whole organization does. So, Saints needed. Let's see. Saints need offensive tackle, defensive lineman. So many good offensive tackles in this draft. J.C. Latham's on the board. Fuaga's on the board. Fautanu's on the board. Marius Mims on the board. Graham Barton's on the board. Jackson Powers-Johnson's on the board. Taylor Guyton. Yeah, there's a lot of tackles. What are we looking at edge-wise? Jared Verse. Strengthen up that defense. They had a really good defense last year too, and again, they picked up Raekwon Davis. Oh no, sorry, wrong team. They picked up Chase Young, so they have Chase Young. Let's look at the Saints depth chart right now, since they have Chase Young. I was looking at the wrong team. Raekwon Davis. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Wrong team. Okay, Saints. I'm probably just skimming right past them, as I usually do when I'm just scrolling through this. There we go. The Saints. Okay, so on edge, they have Cameron Jordan and Carl Granderson. Chase Young's behind Jordan? I don't know if I believe that. I think they would have Chase Young alongside Cameron Jordan. And then Granderson and Turner. I don't see them getting edge at all. I can't fathom that they would get edge. It doesn't make sense to me. They would most likely go after offensive tackle at that point. And at that point, who's your offensive tackles? Trevor Penning and Ryan Ramczyk. The second stringers are not good. Cesar Ruiz and James Hurst, I could see them being okay with that. Maybe some depth there. Is there a flexibility in O-line? J.C. Latham, Jackson Powers-Johnson, that's a bit of a reach. There's a lot of value. Actually, you know what? There's a lot of value. I think the Saints would be willing to trade down. Who's willing to trade up for a pick? Maybe the Cowboys decide to move up and get a fucking wild card pick because they didn't do anything in free agency. What are we looking at for the Cowboys? They move up and get their tackle. Are they in fear that the Colts want to tackle? No. The Seahawks? No. Seahawks, I feel like, would be even willing to trade down a little bit for value too. Or will they be? The question of the day. I'm going to say they trade down. The Saints trade down with some team that's desperate. Who wants it? The Cowboys. I believe that 100%. I believe the Cowboys want to make a splash pick, and they're going to trade up for it. And I think their splash pick is going to be a tackle. But let's make sure we know what the Cowboys are working with tackle-wise. They have Terrence Steele and Tyler Smith. They want a tackle. I think they're going to go make a splash pick on tackle. Now the question is, who's the tackle that they want? Smith, and they probably want a big boy. I would say Mims even. Mims is big. 6'8", 340. J.C. Latham, 6'6", 342. Let's try to make the trade. So the trade right now is going to be the Saints trading down. Where's the Saints? NO. Make a trade. Pick one. Select team. Cowboys. Pick one. Offer trade. Just accept it, please. Thank you. Okay, good. This website's working good so far. We're having luck. So pick 14. The Cowboys move up. They're gonna get a tackle that they believe is their tackle. I think they're gonna go based off of the ranking. I'm gonna say they're gonna go with J.C. Latham. I think J.C. Latham's just the more sure bet that they're looking at. Alabama too. They had a good team. They'll move up and get their tackle, especially for that offense that they're trying to build around. So, J.C. Latham. Then you got the Colts. Colts are on the clock. Colts, they need a cornerback, edge, safety, wide receiver. I would say they go cornerback here, just specifically based off the fact that, you know, strengthen up that defense. And if we're talking cornerbacks, let's go by DB. You got Terry. Look, you got some high-ranking ones too. You got Terrion Arnold and Kenyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Ernest Rakestraw. There's a lot of value in here. There's TJ Tampa, Javon Bullard. There's some value here up top. I don't think that deep. They could technically trade down and get some depth value too, but I just don't think there's a crazy trade here. I think they're just going to get the best overall corner, one of the two. I'm going to say, who is their cornerback depth right now, though? Somebody's going to be able to start right away. It's the mentality I'm having in this thought process. We're going based off of, which team is this? This is the Colts. Why am I drawing a blank? The Colts. So their corners that they have are Juju Brents and Julian Black. Or no, sorry, Kenny Moore. Oh, they really need a starter right off the bat. Really bad. Okay. 6 foot, 195, Toledo. Man pressure. I believe they run man coverage a lot. What about Terrion Arnold? He is 6 foot, 189. He's got man pressure and run defense even. Do they really care about that run defense too much though? No. I think they're going to go Kenyon Mitchell. I'm going to say Kenyon Mitchell fits more of the mold, I believe, in Indianapolis. Now you got the Seahawks on the clock. Don't go off this. This is terrible. Really, really bad. Again, I said I was going to say that a lot. Seahawks, inside offensive lineman, linebacker, safety, edge. They already got their safety, Rashawn Jenkins. George Fant. You know, Jerome Baker even. What are they looking at? Edge? I could see edge. They do need a... Well, they do need a star linebacker, though. They lost 2 linebackers. And tight end, but there's no first round tight end outside of that. What is the tight end? Yeah, no. Cade Stover. They'll find him in the later rounds, I'm guaranteeing. So at this point, best available and defensive wise, they could use edge pretty significantly from what I'm seeing here. Let's go to their depth chart. Again, I'm just fucking hauling ass past them, I'm sure of it. Seattle Seahawks. There you go. The very last one. Draymond Jones, Leonard Williams. They could use depth for sure. I think they would go with somebody along the lines of maybe defensive line edge. They do need edge defensive line. Maybe they reach for a player. I'm going to say they go with Jared Verse. Just best overall. Safe edge pick, Florida State. Probably will work out for them if they like him a lot. Then we got the Jags on the clock. Jags have a wide receiver need. I don't believe that too much. Cornerback, most likely cornerback. I would say this is a cornerback pick. They could trade out of this though, so let's look at it real quick. Again, a lot of depth in corner. So let's look at the Jaguars depth chart. They got Ronald Darby and Tyson Campbell. Yeah, no, they need corner. Do they need a top tier corner? They could use a top tier corner. So you got Terrion Arnold, Cooper DeJean, Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Oh, tricky. They like their Alabama players. Terrion Arnold is still on the clock, which is kind of hard to believe. I think they'll just go with Arnold, the best corner. I just don't think that they would just be like, why not take Arnold? You know, just get a good, solid corner. Alabama. Bengals are on the clock. Now, Bengals, I just truly believe they're not looking to trade this pick. I just don't see it. But again, you never know. Get the Bengals depth chart up real quick. They added Sheldon Rankins, Geno Stone. By the way, fuck you Bengals for taking Geno Stone. Von Bell. They don't need safeties at all. Offensive tackle Trent Brown. They really don't need a tackle either. And they added Mike Gesicki. They don't need that. So they need defensive linemen. So at this point, trade down? I could see them trading down. I really don't think they would want to, but their defense is getting pretty stacked. I don't see them looking at defense, really. It would be offense, if anything. It says T. Higgins. T. Higgins really still on the team? I thought he was like a free agent. Man, I can see them trading down. I can see a splash trade here, but they just wouldn't trade with the Ravens. Steelers. They wouldn't trade with the rival. What's the offensive tackles we're looking at here? Fuaga could go to the Steelers. The Broncos haven't picked yet, so Broncos might be looking at a tackle. Broncos trade up one spot. Just a slap in the face. I could see that. A slap in the face division rival pick here. Okay. I'm going to say they trade with the Broncos. I think the Broncos trade up one spot. Some simple ass trade. I could see that happening. Again, the Broncos gathered some trades, or some picks, and now they can go back. I think the Broncos are going to go tackle here, though. So I'm going to say right now the Bengals, Cincinnati, make a trade, select a team. Oh, actually add trade, select team. Whoa. What happened? That was not it. Cincinnati, make a trade. Pick one, select a team. The Broncos. Add to the trade. Offer trade. Decide. Succeed. Thank you. Just always accept, please. Makes it a lot easier. They just swap picks. There is always those chances that happens, and that's why I'm doing that. So now the Broncos are on pick 18. They swap back up, and they're going to get their offensive tackle that they want, which I believe, if we're looking at the Broncos, who do they like? Do we have a... It doesn't tell you where they're at, though, in terms of where they're drafted from. I don't really know who Broncos would choose as depth. Oh, you know what? Because they don't really need a tackle either. They might be thinking of the future, though, for not picking up a tackle, though. So they pick one up, and they got a young guy for the foreseeable future. So I could see this being still a tackle pick. What else do the Broncos need, though? Inside offensive lineman. Graham Barton? I think that the offensive line picks are really hard to judge. I can see Graham Barton being the pick, though. I'm going to say Graham Barton is the pick. I just see something offensive lineman to help build around this offensive, that mindset that they have right now. I'm going to say Graham Barton. So Graham Barton from Duke is going to be that pick. They reach down a little bit and get that guy, Graham Barton. And then that way it's kind of leaving the Steelers going, what the fuck? And then here you are, another tackle pick. It's going to be with the Bengals. I think they're just going to say, you know what? We're going to take the best available tackle at this point. They could get center. Kind of just shooting everybody in the foot. Ted Karras. Cordell Volson. Inside offensive lineman. Christian Haynes is offensive guard. I don't see him reaching that far. Tyler Guyton. I could see them kind of going for Tyler Guyton. Mims is going to be more of a tackle guy. Fautino. Fuaga. This one's a really tough one, though. I'm going to say they go best available. What are we looking at here? We're looking at a 6'6", 324 guy, and then we're looking at a 6'4", 317. I'm going to go with Fuaga. I think I'm going to go with Fuaga. And then there's the Steelers. The Steelers are on the clock. And if we go back down to the Steelers, they need a wide receiver, offensive tackle, inside offensive lineman. I think they did lose Deontay Johnson. So wide receiver is a big deal. I think here they're going to go and get their other wide receiver at this point, Brian Thomas Jr. So I think they're going to go and get the LSU pick because the tackle they probably were looking at is off the board, or the center, maybe Grant Barton was that offensive tackle. Push inside that they wanted, but Steelers always get some crazy pick at wide receiver too, so I can see Brian Thomas being that guy. It falls right to their lap. The Dolphins, another splash trade might happening here. Defensive lineman, tight end. I don't see them looking at any of these players in depth. Where is the Dolphins? The Dolphins, they got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Braxton Berrios. I don't see them going wide receiver at all. Defensive lineman. By the way, you close this one out. Defensive lineman, who they got? Oh, they did. Yeah, they did lose a very key piece in their defensive line for sure. So that's something to think about. Jerzon Newton, Brian Murphy. I think they're probably going to go trying to replace that position. I think they're going to go with Newton. Yeah, best available defensive lineman, Newton. The Eagles are on the clock. Now, this is kind of like the big one here because Cooper DeJean's on the board. I really think they would go along the lines of that, especially because they need a corner really bad. But there's also different DBs like Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry. I'm going to say, because we're not going to be able to trade up, I have my special pick for my trade. I'm going to say that they look away from Cooper DeJean. They really need corner, huh? This is the part that hurts, because I had them getting Cooper DeJean. I really don't want to see it. And the way that Ravens draft is they kind of let people fall to their laps. That's just a wild card. And they just go and get them, and they're just balling out. So I'm going to say for the Eagles, they got Darius Slay and Bradbury. I don't see them getting a corner then at that. I guess like a slot corner. Like it really could be Cooper DeJean at that point then. But I'm trying to see if there's anything else that's like a big deal. Reed Blankenship at safety. I don't think there's a linebacker worth this high of a pick. Peyton Wilson. Nope. Negative. Definitely not. Maybe sure up that O-line? What are we looking at O-line wise? Jordan Mailata or Mailata. Lane Johnson. Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen. Guard? Man, this is a tough one. LaRaven Clark, Fred Johnson. Oof. They don't need a linebacker either. I guess linebacker depth? I'm going to say they trade down. Get some trade value. I just see them like not knowing what. Or maybe Ravens are crazy enough. I can make this the wild of wild fucking choices. Is this going past 32 rounds? That is not supposed to go past 32 rounds, but it's showing that. I do not like that. We're not supposed to go past 32 rounds. Okay, so I'm going to say that the Ravens trade up. They're crazy enough to do it. I believe it could happen. The Eagles. Where is the Eagles? I'm gonna say this is the crazy. This will be my what I want to pick, but also maybe it's the wild pick. That's a big jump. 22 to 30. That's about 8 picks. So we're gonna say that the Ravens just go balling out. So we're gonna go Philadelphia fee. Make a trade. Please work. Oops. Pick one with the Ravens. Pick one. Offer trade. Side. Accepted. Yes. Cool. Okay. The Ravens are on the clock. They moved up to pick 22. They just went all out, and I'm all super pumped. And we get Cooper DeJean. I just see Cooper DeJean being like another Kyle Hamilton and making that defense just flexible, super flexible. And I think a lot of people are willing to see that too. That's why me as a Ravens fan, this would be fucking awesome. But I think they do move up, get hyped up, and they want Cooper DeJean just to be safe. A lot of people don't like Cooper DeJean, but again, it's the flexibility of him that's something that people need to keep an eye out for. I think that's just going to be a splash pick there. Vikings are on the clock. Vikings need defensive line inside. Oh, we already have 45 minutes of this video. They got their quarterback. I think they could go O-line to protect that quarterback. What are we looking at depth chart here wise for the Vikings? I'm going to say the Vikings, which I wish I could find them because I'm just skimming over them over and over. Ooh, that O-line don't look good though. Brian O'Neill, David, no, they're gonna go O-line. Foutinel's there. Fuck, best available. You can't go wrong there. Amarius Mims, big dude. I'm gonna say they get Foutinel. Foutinel falls to their lap. And then now we're down to the Saints, and the Saints again, you know, they got their trade value. So what does Saints want? The Saints dropped from 14 down to 24. That's crazy. Offensive tackle. The offensive tackles. Amarius Mims is there. Tyler Guyton. I'm gonna say that the Saints. What's their center looking like? Eric McCoy, Trevor Penning, Brian Amchick, James Hurst. Not really good. I'm not seeing much improvement there. Wide receiver. No, I don't see wide receiver all that big too. Corner. Paulson Adebo. Okay, I can see them getting corner. I could see them for sure getting corner. Especially with Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid McKinstry on the clock, Ernest Rakestraw. Ooh, actually, I see a couple options here. I'm going to say they go in... they're probably going to go along the lines of... Kool-Aid McKinstry's smaller, right? No, he's 6 foot. Nate Wiggins is 6 foot. 6'1", 173. I don't know what kind of passing defense they have. I want to say, because this is a zone coverage corner. What are we looking at here? Man coverage? Oh, he's zone coverage too. He's really good at coverage. I think they're gonna go with Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think they're gonna go off of the full on spectrum of this player. You know what I mean? Versus like the strength of them. So here we got the Packers, pick 25. I don't see any splash trade here. I know a lot of people want O-line. I think they really do need O-line. And Amarius Mims has been like the one that a lot of people have been going to. They think they're going to go with Amarius Mims. I think he's just a big boy. It's one everyone wants. He's a Georgia player. You know what I mean? It's just winner. So Bucks on the clock. Says they need quarterback. It's such a laughable thing. The Bucks on the clock. They need inside offensive lineman, cornerback, edge, linebacker, safety, wide receiver. They added Ben Bredesen. So really, inside offensive line is probably not that big of a concern. Robert Hainsey, center? Ooh. I think here, I think they just reach a little bit. I'm willing to bet that they reach for that center and they get Jackson Powers Johnson. I'm going to go off a limb here and say they get Jackson Powers Johnson. I think that's just the way they're going to look at it. Then you have the Cardinals on the clock. I believe Cardinals, we did do trade down with this. I wish I would tell you that like the trade happened. That would have been nice so I remember. Okay, so here, you know, they got their wide receiver. They could kind of grab their... Oh, way too far. Whoa, way too far. Okay, there we go. Pick 27. There's some teams that could trade back up. I hope I didn't do like a 6 round. It's only okay, so a locked round 2, round 3. Okay, so maybe it's good then. What are we looking at? Arizona Cardinals. Oh, this is their second pick anyways. This isn't a trade pick. Wide receiver. They got the wide receiver, running back, edge, defensive lineman. Is this the wild card pick that they go in? What do they have at wide receiver right now? Are they banking on anybody in Arizona for wide receiver? Oof. I don't know, man. I think they could go another wide receiver. It could be that one time. Kyler Murray can go with another wide receiver really badly. Like badly. Ugh, who are these names? Corner, Sean Murphy Bunting, of course, it's fine. Garrett Williams. They could go corner. They need a lot. What are we looking at best available according to this? Do they need defensive linemen? Not as important of a need. Nate Wiggins is there. Did they need corner? Garrett Williams, Nate Wiggins? Wiggins and Bunting? I think they're going to shop wide receiver later rounds and then just kind of do a wide receiver gamble. I don't see them going like Marvin Harrison and then Adonai Mitchell, for example. I mean, there's plenty of depth here, wide receiver. So I'm going to go based off the whim that they're going to need something to protect the passing game. I think they're going to look at that as an important thing. I think they're going to go Nate Wiggins. That's a wild pick. Then you got the Bills on the clock, which, quite frankly, I don't understand people choosing Ladd McConkey for him. I don't understand it. He's a slot player. They added Curtis Samuel. Who do they got at slot? I want to kind of look at this. You got Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Matt Collins. I don't see wide receiver at all, if I'm being honest. I just don't see. They got KJ Hamler, Andy, but no, negative. They're not looking that wide. They're gonna bounce off these wide receivers for sure. There's absolutely no way. I don't even see them looking at O-line really, except for maybe like guard, and that's even maybe. Corner looks like a big deal for them. What does it say that they need? Corner's number 1. Yeah, corner's number 1. Rakestraw. I could see Rakestraw being it. People say TJ Tampa. That's the big reach there. I don't see it being. I can see it being Rakestraw. And then you got the Lions on the clock. Lions want to have a sexy pick. I know them with the fucking success of new head coach. I don't want to say necessarily a sexy pick, but they need a corner apparently, according to this. I don't see them really needing a corner too bad. Amik Robertson, Carlton Davis. Oh, they kind of do need a corner. They got Mosley there. I just don't see it too much there. Their O-line looks fucking disgustingly good. They don't need wide receivers. This is a defensive pick for sure. It's got to be a corner, or they could trade out, but I think they would just get a corner. I think they're just going to go with... Maybe they do go TJ Tampa. Is there anything that they could sure up? Best available even? They don't need. They literally don't need. Their O-line looks disgusting. I would say their O-line looks one of the best I've seen. Debatable. I just don't feel like they'll trade out. I just don't see it happening. Look at all these guys that are left too, man. There's some fucking players left. Wow, Detroit seems like to be the hardest choice here. Tyler Nubin could be the pick here. I'm going to say TJ Tampa's got a lot of hype behind him. I'm going to say they just reach for TJ Tampa. And then you got the Eagles on the clock. We already talked about that trade down with Baltimore. They need a corner. They kind of shot themselves in the foot. Thank you. We're going to say Philadelphia. I guess what's another important need for Philadelphia? Linebacker, safety, offensive tackle. I'm going to say they go off of needing... It's a safety here. Nubin. Perfect. Tyler Nubin. They get Tyler Nubin. I think they're okay with that. Let's hopefully that's what they're looking at. Okay, and the last two picks here, the 49ers and the Chiefs. There's always a team that trades back into the first, though. What are we looking at best available wise? Byron Murphy falling out. Defensive lineman. And Chop Robinson. This looks about right. I'm actually okay with this. I think offensive tackle is going to be one of their bigger needs. Yeah. Which is fine, because at that point, I don't think you even need to look at the offensive tackle for the 49ers. I think the 49ers, the safest bet would be getting a tackle. Trent Williams and Colton McKivitz. Oh, yeah. They're going to go offensive tackle. So at that point, the offensive tackle, Tyler Guyton's there. That's pretty much the only option I would go with at that point. Everything else is a reach after that. Tyler Guyton's still a good rated pick. And it's at pick 31. Value there. Perfect. I guess nobody trades back up from the second into the first. Maybe that's just how this is going to go from what I've seen. Again, this is all on the fly, but I'm trying to think on the fly as well. And last but not least, the Kansas City Chiefs, they need a wide receiver. And then you got literally Ladd McConkey, Adonai Mitchell, and I mean, if you reach out Keon Coleman, Xavier Worthy, I don't see, even though Worthy was the fastest player, I don't see them choosing another fast player because they got Hollywood Brown. It just makes it irrelevant of a pick. I think they're going to go hands guy, a little bigger. I'm going to say Adonai Mitchell. And I think that's going to be the ending of the draft. Why is it going into pick 33? Oh, there we go. It's not. Close. So there we have it. I guess we could just go through a zoom in. And we go, oh, that's terrible zoom in. Okay, anyways. There you have it. So we'll go over this real quick. Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, JJ McCarthy, Joe Alt, Dallas Turner, Rome Odunze, Brock Bowers, Fashionow, Latu, and by the way, if I butcher these names, bear with me. I think Raiders splash pick, Penix, JC Latham on a trade up to the Cowboys. You got Kenyon Mitchell, Jared Verse, Terrion Arnold, Graham Barton, Talise Fuaga, Brian Thomas Jr., Jerzon Newton. Ravens with a big splash pick. Hopefully, fingers crossed that works. Cooper DeJean, Troy Fountainow, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Amarius Mims, Jackson Powers Johnson, Nate Wiggins, Ernest Rakestraw Jr., TJ Tampa, Tyler Nubin, Tyler Guyton, and Adonai Mitchell. And that's my draft. And we literally just about to hit an hour mark, so it's actually perfect. An hour-long video. It's kind of long for to watch, but if you guys skip through, you know, maybe I'll post a list of who I chose for each team in the description, and then or in the comment section. I'll pin it, and then you guys just go and look on there, and we'll go from there. So hopefully you guys like that and enjoyed the content. I know it was nothing too crazy, you know, no entertainment purpose side, but this is just pure fun. You know, we love drafts. All right, so take it easy. You guys have a good one, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section, which you guys believe your team's gonna pick for what you want to pick and versus what you think they're gonna pick. So adios, later.